Once again, good morning to everyone. A couple weeks ago, a couple friends from college and I were speaking, and we were sort of lamenting the fact that we speak the English language and we know so little of Shakespeare, maybe the greatest writer in the English language in all history. And so we decided we would start to pick up and at least watch some Shakespeare adaptation films. And so just this last week we watched this famous comedy of Shakespeare, Much Ado About Nothing. And there are two characters in this play that are quite funny. Two of the main characters, Benedick and Beatrice. And all they do is insult each other, back and forth, saying nasty things. Now, secretly they love each other, but they would never admit that in public. But as the play unfolds, they're tricked into confessing their love for one another, and they marry, and as soon as they get married, it's back to the insults, just nasty things. And this struck me as pretty funny. This was written in the 1500s, and even back then, Shakespeare was on to something. Even today, if you're given a handful of Italian couples, the play takes place in Italy and these characters are Italian. If you get a handful of Italian couples, maybe more than a couple of these couples might act in this way. Insults, nasty things shared back and forth. And, on the surface you think, geez, this is really nasty. This must be a difficult marriage. You get to know the couple a little bit more, and you start to realize, geez, I think these people love each other. And you dig a little deeper, and you realize, actually, this couple really is in love. And this game of insults back and forth is just that. It's kind of a game. It's play for them. And in some way, this is the way they express their love. First example. Another example, my relationship with my sister. My sister has all sorts of quite nasty names for me. Nicknames, some of which I can't repeat here. But throughout my whole life, it's always been this way with her. She calls me nasty things. Now, you've never heard such nasty things said with such love at the same time. That's the way it is with her. Grayson, I love you, but just so you know, don't get too full of yourself, you little. Third example. A couple years ago, I heard a story about the Saint Padre Pio. And he was, back when he was around in Italy there, he was hearing a confession from a man in the town, and this man must have been this man who told the story because, the seal of confession and everything. But this man was falling into adultery, falling into marital infidelity. And he was sort of waffling there with Padre Pio in the confessional saying, it's just I'm a man and I have these weaknesses and, I just don't know what to do. I can't decide what I'm supposed to do. And in that moment in the confessional, Padre Pio slapped him. Now, Father Jake and I will never do this to anyone. But he slapped him and he said, "So you're a man? Decide. Choose. Make a decision." This is exactly what this man needed, just to wake up, to turn a corner, to stop waffling. In some way, Padre Pio knew precisely the thing to say and to do for this person. Again, Father Jake and I will never do that. But these three examples show us that sometimes human communication is rather mysterious. It might seem like one thing on a certain level, that it's mean and degrading and insulting, and on another level, there's this undercurrent of love, of correction, of encouragement. I think these three examples give us in some way a little bit of an edge to understand this admittedly somewhat embarrassing exchange between Jesus and this Canaanite woman. Jesus says it's not right to throw the food of the children to the dogs. Now, what we can exclude from the outset is that Jesus really intends to insult and to, tell this woman that she is lesser than human. He doesn't have that intention. Whether she's fully conscious of it or not, she's entering into a mysterious communication with God when she's speaking with Jesus. And Jesus has a strategy. He's attempting in some way to win her heart, to bring her into the fold. And so, we don't have the full information. Is Jesus in some way even playing with her? Is he in a kind of game of conversation? What is he getting at? He has a strategy. The grain, you could say the nugget that I would like to propose for all of us this Sunday is something about the Christian life, something about the heart of the faith that we're taking part in today and in our whole lives. And that this Christian journey, our Christian pilgrimage in life, involves two different things. It involves being deconstructed. It involves us putting aside sort of this overconfident attitude, we got everything figured out, we understand everything. We don't come to Mass saying, we got it figured out. In some way, we come to Mass needing to be deconstructed. We need this humble disposition to realize that we don't have it all figured out. We need to be first deconstructed. And in the wake of that, after that, God reconstructs us. This played out for me in dramatic ways in seminary. Coming into seminary thinking I had it all figured out and undergoing, and I'm still undergoing, this process of first being deconstructed by God and then being reconstructed. Divine deconstruction and divine reconstruction. We might ask ourselves the question, who is it that is welcome to come here to church, to come into Mass? You have your answer in the first reading. My house shall be called a house of prayer for all peoples. Everyone is welcome here. At the same time, we might ask ourselves, for whom is this Christian life beneficial? And the response to that is those of us who are humble enough to come here to be first deconstructed and then reconstructed. Amen.